What is going on, New York Giant fans? Welcome back to another Roster Bubble Series video. Please hit the like button, comment, and subscribe. Turn on post notifications so you know when a live stream pops or a video drops. Appreciate y'all coming back. Also, share this out. Training camp is in a few days, but it's still the dead time in the NFL offseason, so would appreciate a video share out, a video series share out, also a channel share out. We appreciate you guys, and thank you as always. So, another Roster Bubble video. In these videos, I take a player that's on the cusp of being cut, and I talk about their background, their competition, how they could win a spot on the roster, how they could lose a spot on the roster, and then a prediction at the end. Usually about 5 to 10 minutes long. Today's candidate/profile is Wyatt Davis from Ohio State. Let's go to the background. He was originally drafted by the Minnesota Vikings in the 3rd round of the 2021 draft, and many saw this as a surprise because they thought he was going to be a first-round pick, like myself at the time, and I was still kind of getting into the scouting, the content creator scouting of the draft and all that. But just some background, he played 865 pass blocking snaps when he was with Ohio State in 24 starts. He gave up 4 sacks, 1 quarterback hit, a total of 33 pressures at Ohio State. But with that being said, before we get to his game log for the NFL, let's talk about some of the pros and cons coming out of college, because let's be fair, if you look at his game log, which we'll get to in a sec, it's not very, he doesn't have a very, he hasn't played many games in the NFL. So I'm not going to sit here and say, pick apart this, and this. I mean, we have to go back to his college resume. But pros and cons: very physical, competitive, great inside hands and pass protection, good when passing off stunts. Run blocking is definitely his forte. And then cons: small frame for an offensive guard, lack of short-range quickness, inconsistent footwork, limited mirror ability, will tend to lunge, and vulnerable versus inside speed rushers. So there is that. With Minnesota, he played 6 games in 2021, never got an offensive snap. He actually was supposed to be the starting right guard, but was beat out by Oli Udoh, who I believe was drafted a few years earlier by the Minnesota Vikings. And then 2022 comes along, and Wyatt Davis is not in a good position because guess what? A couple of new guys come in, in terms of players, but also Kevin O'Connell, and they have a new GM. So he competed for a starting job alongside Udoh, Jesse Davis, and rookie Ed Ingram out of LSU, and he was a part of the final roster cuts. He signs the Giants practice squad a few days later. The New Orleans Saints sign him to the active roster. Was anything made of that? Well, he just played in 1 game, 3% of the offensive snaps, which is in reality 2 snaps total. Then, with that being said, moves to the Cardinals in November. Plays a total of 1 game and 1 snap on offense. Then the Giants pick him up at the end of December. Plays 1 game for the Giants where he got probably the most playing time he's had in his NFL career. 26 snaps, 41% of the offensive snaps against the Eagles. Then I believe he was rotated out for Jack Anderson. And then they switched Bredesen over, and they made a couple other adjustments as well. So there's that. But from last season, 0 penalties, 0 sacks given up, 56.5 PFF rating. Now, what does this competition look like? Devery Hamilton, who's going to be competing for guard and tackle. Corey Cunningham, who you could probably bet on the same thing. Marcus McKeithen, likely going to make the roster. If not PUP, he's going to find his way onto the roster at some point, but he's still going to be competing for a backup guard tackle role. Shane Lemieux, who I believe was one of the first roster bubble videos we did this year. He's going to be competing for a backup guard spot. J.C. Hassenauer, who I mentioned is going to make the roster, in my opinion at least. He's going to be competing for a backup center, backup guard role. Jack Anderson, who played 2 games with the Giants last year, also is going to be, competing. And Tyree Phillips, who probably will be competing mostly at tackle, but he maybe will get some guard playing time, depending on injuries and whatnot. So how can Wyatt Davis win a spot on the roster? He's got to stay healthy. The odds are against him right now because of the lack of NFL experience he has. Get better versus speed rushers in pass pro. Work on footwork, speed, and lower body technique. I would tend to believe that the New York Giants are going to focus, and not that you want a player that's better in run blocking than pass blocking. You kind of want an even-keeled type of player, but I feel like the Giants are going to be more of a passing offense this year with the guys they signed, getting Darren Waller over here, and maybe, having a third tight end that's more of a pass catcher than a run blocker. So they might want to focus on pass protection rather than run blocking, because if you do re-sign Saquon, or whatever the case may be in that scenario, those guys can, create holes for themselves. Not saying that you don't have to have a good offensive line, but the point is, it's a passing league. You want to be better in pass pro than, run blocking if you were given a choice. Also, yeah, you would rather be even-killed. But anyway, get better versus speed rushers in pass pro. Work on footwork, speed, and lower body technique overall. How can he lose? If he doesn't stay healthy, I think he had only a little bit of injuries in college. I don't know to be exact, but, he was just never given a fair shot at the NFL level. He was mostly inactive for the Vikings, and then obviously he's bounced around. But if he's beat out by more versatile competition, you look at the competition again. J.C. Hassenauer can play guard and center. Jack Anderson can play guard. I don't think he could play center yet, but he was snapping to Daniel Jones in the offseason. Tyree Phillips can play tackle and guard. Same with Marcus McKeithen. Same with Devery Hamilton. And same with Corey Cunningham. So, he really has to play just to a T if he really wants to make the roster. Lower body technique is still an issue. Pass protection still remains an issue as well. Those two things he has to try and fix. Once again, I mentioned this a few weeks ago about one of the wide receivers, which I believe was Mekhi Polk. The Giants didn't invest too much in Wyatt Davis, so they're not going to sit here and, try to develop him and fix all these issues. Yeah, they put in a waiver claim for him first part of the year, sign him to the practice squad. So they obviously might find something in this guy, but if they find somebody better that comes among the guards that I listed, they're going to keep them and say, okay, well, Wyatt Davis, we're just going to throw to the side, which is the cruel life of being an NFL player and, really in any job too. So quick recap, how can you win? Stay healthy, get better versus speed rushers and pass pro, work on footwork, speed, and lower body technique. How can he lose? Unhealthy, beat out by more versatile competition. Lower body technique is still an issue. Pass protection still remains an issue as well. I don't have him making the roster. I think he's going to get cut. Is he still eligible for the practice squad? Yes, he is, because of that rule that was implemented a few years ago. And even then, if the rule wasn't implemented, a 3-year player can also stay on a practice squad. But I don't know if he'll stay on the Giants practice squad. It depends, how he plays in the preseason, if the Giants like him or not. Obviously, he stuck around for a little bit last year, but the Giants have a ton of guards they could, do stuff with. And, obviously, Lemieux could be cut, or they have a lot of decisions to make in the guard room. Just going to put it that way. But with that being said, I have him cut. Don't think he's going to make the roster. I think the lack of experience is not a helping hand in this one. But like, comment, subscribe to all the good stuff. Turn on post notifications so you know when a live stream pops, video drops. Appreciate y'all coming back, doing one of these every day till the middle of training camp. Going to be at training camp a few times, actually, so I'm going to be doing some videos from there. They won't let you record, but I'm going to be doing some videos at the parking lot and, basically recapping. But a lot more fun stuff coming for you guys. Peace out, guys. See you later. Stay cool.